Nature always gifted animals some special tools in some way or the other in order to protect themselves from the cruelty of the wildlife and also to give their opponents a tough fight. But in spite of nature giving them these abilities to protect themselves, these abilities can become a reason for the animal for getting itself killed, and they do it unknowingly, and they can even help themselves. Don't worry, Animalpedia got you covered on this one too. Barbarossa is one of the most unusual creatures of our planet. It looks like a pig, but differs too much from its congeners. Piglet is small, its back is arched, its legs are long enough, and it has almost no fur. These animals prefer plant food and clean water. But the main thing about Barbarossa is, of course, their fangs in males. The lower and upper canines grow throughout their life and bend toward the head. It's not uncommon for a fang to grow so much that it begins to grow into the skull, literally. Imagine your tooth bending upward and going up to your forehead. It's not very pleasant, and it's dangerous too, and deer pigs don't like that either. Fortunately, apart from their strange shape, their fangs are fragile. More often than not, though, they break before they reach the skull, for example, during a fight for a female or just from time. Unlike deer pigs, things are much sadder for common reindeer. Their antlers are strong enough even to injure other animals, to real weapon that could very well cause the death of its. Where male deer fights are common during the breeding season, they fight for females, and such battles often end in the death of one of their rivals. Most often he just runs into another's antlers end. But during the fierce fight, the hapless males may also clutch the antlers so tightly that they can't deal with the situation by themselves. The end is very sad. The reindeer can't get up, can't eat, are deprived of the possibility to drink, and just slowly die. Nature can be ruthless, and if it takes place near the water, the reindeer can not only clash, but fall through the ice together, then freeze also together. But sometimes the animals are lucky and people notice their misery in time. It's enough to cut out a couple of antlers. Things are much worse for Arkley. These wild rams are considered the largest, can weigh over 100 pounds and look quite menacing, especially if you look at their large, strong corkscrew-shaped horns, which are usually used to protect themselves from predators and to fight for females. However, despite their majestic appearance, the fate of these wild rams is sometimes tragic. The horns, which are meant to be a powerful weapon of self-defense, can lead the animal to a slow and painful death. The older the ugly get, the more likely it is that their horns will begin to grow in the wrong direction and eventually pierce the ram's faces slowly and painfully. They will penetrate deeper and deeper until they result in death, either from infection. Donkeys need manicures. Horses are subjected to this procedure as well. If the hooves aren't cut, the animal loses its ability to walk straight, which causes trauma, discomfort and shock to everyone who sees the bent hooves, because it's a really creepy sight. I wonder how wild donkeys deal with that. And yet there are so few wild donkeys left that I guess hooves would be the least of their problems. Turtles, for example. They live long lives, don't rush anywhere, are well protected from predators by a tough shell, and must feel just fine. Turtles have one bug: they can't roll over if they're on their backs. Big turtles specifically. And it's not just a coincidence. The height, length and even shape of a turtle shell affects its ability to stand on its feet. For example, turtles with rounded shells roll over faster than flatter ones, and large individuals are much less nimble than smaller ones. The characteristics of the shell literally determine the animal's life. Accidentally flipped over on its back, a helpless turtle can be killed by the sun, starvation, or fall prey to predators. Turtles are especially vulnerable. They're rigid. Armor doesn't bend with body movement, which of course, complicates the flipping process. Imagine a life that looks like a constant compromise between life and death. Larger individuals live better overall. But having reached too big of size, turtles risk one day falling into a fatal trap for males. The issue of flipping is perhaps particularly important in the process of fighting for females. They often fight and try to turn their rival over on their backs. But it would seem that large individuals clearly have an advantage. But once the big turtle loses, it'll never get up on its paws again.